Hey, we are live again. Let me just do a quick sound check and make sure that it's going everywhere that it needs to go. And then we can get this thing going. Tonight's going to be an interesting one. It's not my first time doing this show, but it's definitely something that needs to be discussed. So let me just make sure that it's going everywhere that it needs to go. And is all right. Facebook check. Now let's check YouTube and we're going to get this thing going. YouTube. YouTube is doing this thing too. So we are good to go. We'll start in about 60 to 90 seconds. So come on in, bring a friend, and we're going to get busy. We are going to do this show tonight about triggers, flashbacks, and reactivity, the emotional roller coaster. And it really is a roller coaster because it's scary sometimes when we get triggered. So I'll wait about 60 seconds because it takes a few minutes for it to propagate out to the platforms, and then we'll get this thing going. So stand by. All right, guys. I see you, Tanya. We about to get this thing going because I'm gonna chop this part off, but it might not be long tonight, but it's gonna be effective. We've done this show before a little bit about triggers, but it's not on the podcast, so we'll do it again because people need to hear it. So we're gonna get this thing popping in about 60 seconds, and then I'll wait an additional 30 seconds to do a pause so that we can chop it off for the actual podcast that'll populate. And then I'll repeat this again, but we're on all podcasting platforms and on YouTube, obviously. And yeah, there's more to come, more to come, more to come, more to come. So let's get into it, as my friend Coach Tanya always says. So give me 30 seconds and then we'll officially start it so we don't waste anybody's time. And welcome to another episode of the Sit Down and Heal podcast. My name is Coach Derek and I am your host. I am your certified healing journey coach and relationship coach. That means I am your bridge between the two. That means I help you heal and I help you figure out if you need a healthy relationship or not, because some of y'all need to be single. So my job here, once you get coached by me, is to send you back outside with more healing wrapped around you than trauma. Because that trauma just be doing this thing. And tonight is just another show about things that are related to trauma, especially childhood trauma. And this is the second show in a 4-part series as we bring awareness to childhood trauma. So we're celebrating November, and I hate to use the word celebrating, but we're bringing awareness in November of every year for childhood trauma awareness. So shout out to Coach Stephanie, your fave trauma coach. This is something that she's championing, and we just riding on her coattails and making sure that this awareness gets to as many people as possible. So we're going to get into this topic. Like I said, this one may not be a super long show, but it's going to be super effective because we got some things to talk about. So tonight's topic is titled The Emotional Roller Coaster, Triggers, Flashbacks, and Reactivity. Now, if you remember, because y'all should be going through all of these podcast episodes. Last episode, we talked about flashbacks and how your childhood trauma is almost like you're traveling back in time and all of that, right? So this is going to start off with a similar beat, and then we're going to give it more context, right? So triggers, flashbacks, reactivity, all three of those things go together, right? Because when you get triggered internally, even though you don't know what's happening, you're having a flashback. Then that comes back to present, and then you react to it, right? You react to being triggered, right? So we have to think about what triggers really mean. Most of the time, when you get triggered in the present, you're getting triggered, and it's going to trigger a memory or an event that happened in the past. So when you get triggered, you normally have a reaction or a trauma response. And that trauma response is supposed to make you feel safe. But sometimes your trauma response is anger, right? That anger is meant to protect you. Sometimes you lean back, right? And you kind of what they call fawn, which is kind of like, all right, you got it. I don't even want to talk about it no more. I'm gonna just go over here, right? That's supposed to protect you too. So depending on what your flavor of trauma is, the trauma response is going to try to make you feel safe. But unfortunately, right, we could be living our lives, doing our thing, and then we get into a relationship or a new job, and somebody pushes that button that makes us remember that thing, and then we immediately react, right? Because the trauma response can't be slow. It can't be slow because the offense happened fast. So now we have to manage how we react to it. And the only way to do that is to become aware of the original trauma so that we can learn things about it and how it shows up in our adult lives so that we can manage it better, right? So when we say triggers, flashback, and reactivity, what we're really saying is it's almost kind of uncontrollable. And the only person that can learn and understand how to control it is you, not the other person. Because what we try to do when we get triggered is we try to make the other person not trigger us instead of working on the thing that triggers us so that we can manage ourselves so that when anybody triggers us, not just our partner, we got some tools in hand, right? So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through, because we're childhood trauma awareness, we're going to go through some scenarios by which you may get triggered and then what that could attach itself to from your childhood so that we have a baseline of where to start, right? So like if you get coached by me, you're probably going to really need to get the shadow work workshop so that we can dig deeper to figure out like where those wounds lie so that we can work on them, right? So I'm going to go down a list of scenarios and I'm going to tell you what the possible childhood trauma origin is of it. And then some of you may relate to this, some of you may relate to multiples of these, but this is important information because your healing journey depends on it. Your healing journey depends on you understanding your inner child, right? First and foremost. So let's talk about this. So how the triggers reflect like something painful that's happened in our past. And when I say pain, people automatically think about like physical abuse and other things that are a little more egregious, but pain sometimes is emotional, right? Sometimes pain is like something verbal, right? We talk, there's verbal abuse and emotional abuse and financial abuse. So wherever that original trauma came from, it now still lives in you because you haven't checked it. It lives in you, and it's up to you to figure out how to control it so that you can show up as a better version of yourself. Because sometimes these triggers will cause us to show up horribly in relationships. Sometimes these triggers will have us be horrible parents, horrible sons and daughters, horrible employees, because we are not in control of our trauma responses, right? Some people's trauma responses are so angry that you end up fighting all the time because you feel like somebody disrespected you, but there's a place where that anger wells up so high that probably isn't even about the person at the bar that you had to punch, right? So I'm going to read these scenarios and then we'll give some of them context. Some of them will be pretty obvious, but we're going to go through them because I think people don't really get a good grasp that a lot of your adult behaviors stem from your childhood. So I'm going to go through these and then, this, and again, I repeat, this is a podcast, even though it's on YouTube and some of you guys are watching on Facebook, which means when it's over, 24 hours later, it will be uploaded to Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can listen to the audio. Spotify has a special feature where you can watch the video on Spotify too. So you have a choice to toggle between the audio and the video there, but it's literally everywhere else. iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, everywhere you can get your podcast, I'm there. So not only just go to get this episode, go to get all of them. And again, they're also hosted on YouTube as well. So so just stay tuned. We got tons more to come. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and just make sure you go to sitdownandheal.com and get all the other stuff, but we'll talk about that later. So now let's talk about triggers. So we're going to talk about things that you might often get triggered by, and then we're going to talk about what you might still need to heal from, which is basically things that have happened in your childhood. So let's go. Or the new phrase, let's get into it. So let's do this. So the first one is, and this is one that a lot of us know and love. If you often get triggered by the fear of someone leaving, right? Then you probably need to heal from some kind of abandonment or rejection, right? We talk about this all the time. But as adults, most of the time we don't realize that it goes deeper. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we'll be able to tell you like, yes, because my daddy left, or yes, because my mama left, or yes, because I didn't have both my parents. And that's why I'm so clingy, or that's why I'm so anxious to not let somebody leave, right? But a lot of people don't even know that. A lot of people are literally out here functioning, moving around, thinking that this life is just throwing them all kinds of crap, and they don't realize that they're choosing the crap. Like on purpose, like the inner child is choosing it on purpose. And we have to really, as I always say here, be diligent about figuring out why. And a lot of times you can't figure it out because you're still in your head. You're still ruminating about things. And so getting help is an option for a lot of people that we should take, because most of us don't have the skill set or the tools to work on it. So then if you don't have the skills and the tools to work on it, the only information you have is in your head, right? And that information hasn't worked for you up to this point, right? No matter how old you are, right? So let's go down this list. We're going to keep going. That was an easy one, right? Because we talk about that all the time. The second one is one that's near and dear to my heart. If you often get triggered by when most feedback feels like criticism, when most feedback feels like criticism, good or bad, you just feel criticized no matter what it is. Even if somebody trying to help you think they're being too critical of you, right? Then that means that you might still need to heal from an overly critical or a disapproving caregiver. That means you ain't never do anything right when you was a kid. Always criticizing everything you do. You hold on to that. And when you find somebody that's even trying to help you or say something about something you're doing, it starts to get real warm up in your chest. And you be like, wait, what did they mean by that? Wait, you saying that I'm not good enough? Ooh. Yeah, I know. But what happens in real time is that these things, they ride in our subconscious, and our trauma response to being triggered when we're criticized comes out. And sometimes it's a visceral reaction. Like, what you talking about? I am doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, you literally have a response that's uncontrollable. Sometimes your response, like I said earlier in the show, is for you to just shut up and shrink yourself when you get criticized, but it still feels like it hurts just the same. And normally it's not about the person you're with. Normally it's not even about your boss. Normally it was already there before you got the job. It just put a little extra stank on it. So your reaction to it, imagine reacting to it viscerally at work. You didn't even know it was there until they said that thing that made you feel less than, right? Disapproving caregiver. That means you weren't celebrated a lot. You just had to keep doing stuff and they would criticize the things you did. It sticks with you. And the unfortunate truth, and I talk about this all the time about how this universe works, is that unchecked, you will seek and find and couple with a person that is overly critical. The universe don't like us that much, do it? It be sending us tests. We'll fall in love with somebody that criticizes and finds fault all the time, and you be like, this hurts, but I gotta stay because I love her. I love her. I love him. I can't go nowhere. We've been together for 2 years, but I can't talk about it. You know why most of us can't talk about it? Because we don't know what the hell is going on. We just think this is how things are. And you be miserable for a long time. Let's proceed. What if you were feeling unimportant to your loved ones? Feeling worthless, not important. It's in your head. Remember, we did a show about cognitive distortions. It's in your head. You feel unimportant to them. And maybe you are. Maybe it's true. But the boundaries ain't there. So you stay in those environments and just suck all that perceived or real energy, right? And that means if you're feeling unimportant to your loved ones all the time, it means you probably had an unavailable or self-focused caregiver. Y'all know people always talk about having a narcissistic parent. They ain't there for you. It's all about what they want. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about what you got going on. It's about them. Mama need a life too. It's a real thing. And when you experience that as a kid, you're going to feel worthless sometimes. You will project that you're unimportant to people on people that it doesn't belong to because it's in your head. It's in your body. It's in your system. It's part of your root programming. It's to feel unimportant. And let me tell you what happens when a lot of people that go through this, right? They'll have like a friend group. And that friend group will have an outing that they didn't invite you to. But they didn't have the language to tell you why, right? We going fishing and we know that Sally don't like fishing, so we're not going to invite her, right? But you will think that they went fishing without you because they don't care about you. It's all about them and not you. And a lot of times people like this, they end up with partners that are emotionally unavailable on purpose. Because feeling unimportant, that's your bag. You know what that feels like, and subconsciously your body wants more. Let me tell you something about this human body that we have, right? Whatever we do in repetition, your body will try its best to mimic it because it thinks it's something you need. The same thing happens with these things. Anybody ever took a nap and then you took a nap the same time the next day? And then you took a nap the same time the next day? And then you stopped for like a week? But every day during that week that you stopped, your body started feeling tired at that same time? Our human bodies love repetition. So imagine if your trauma gets triggered often because you're choosing people to trigger it, that your body will still crave it even when you're single. This is why when we pick, sometimes it's the inner child picking because it's looking to feel like that again. I hope y'all caught that. Your body is looking to mimic the trauma because it thinks that that's what you need to feel safe. I know I talk about this a lot. I know we do it in a bunch of different flavors, but it's true. Look at our histories. Look at who we picked. Look at where we stayed too long. Why we on narcissist number 3. But here at Sit Down and Heal Coaching, you too can learn how to work on this. So let's keep moving on, because this is another one that's on my list. What if you get triggered by raised voices and tones, or even the way someone's face looks? You ever look at somebody's face and made an assumption about what that face meant and it triggered you because you seen that face somewhere before and you projected onto that person? Let me tell y'all what this looks like in real life. When you start to micromanage people's facial expressions and you tell them what it means, imagine being on the, well, some of y'all don't have to. Imagine being on the receiving end of that. I see that face you made. I know you don't like me. Whoa, where'd that come from? I don't like you? Who told you that? Your face. It looked like you don't like me. I'm gonna need you to ask me first, right? So the raised voice, the tones, and the looks on faces comes from an unpredictable or scary caregiver. It's a lot of kids that were scared of their parents, like petrified, tears, being yelled at all the time. When you grow up into an adult, you get real sensitive to people's tone of voice. You get real sensitive to how they talk to you. And it be pissing you off, but like more than normal. Right? And we got to find out why it's so visceral, the reaction. Now, some people inherently are just, they yelling for evil purposes. Some people, that's just how I talk. I'm a loud talker, and he'd be like, no, that means, listen to the words. That means, we're assigning what it means without asking the person. Where does that come from? Childhood. An unpredictable caregiver. You trying to figure out what's going on with mommy or daddy, because you can't peg what the hell is going on. And when you ask them, they be like, leave me alone. Hear that tone? It stays with us. But then we end up in relationships with people that yell, what the hell? What the hell? How does that work? It's not supposed to. Here's another one that a lot of people can relate to. Loud noises and sensory overwhelm means you probably need to heal from being in chaotic environments when you were young. Some people still fidgety from stuff that happened when they was 10. A lot of that this is falling under like PTSD. Anytime you hear something loud, you jump out of fear. So we're going to run past that one because that's a sticky one for some people. Ooh, this is a good one. This next one. Authority or being told what to do. Those of y'all that are watching live, put a one in the comment if this is you. When somebody tell you what to do, it sets you off. And this could mean that you need to be healed from being controlled, or you didn't have a voice when you were a kid. So when somebody tell you what to do, you time travel and you go back. Remember, we talked about that last week. And then the person who's telling you what to do becomes the embodiment of your mama or your daddy. And now you've really pissed off at them. And they looking at you like, what did I do? What did I do? And it doesn't have to be somebody yelling at you, telling you what to do. They can just be like, could you mind getting that for me? Yeah, what? The hell you just say? I just asked you to get me a fork out the thing. Oh, my bad. You be jumpy as hell. It ain't because of them. It's because of you. Childhood trauma. We're going to be talking about this all month. So y'all need to just sit back and soak all of this knowledge up, because at some point you should be making a decision to heal. The next one is also my bag. Notice. I need for you guys to, okay, so let's pause real quick. I need for you guys to really pay attention to something, right? Pay attention to me. I didn't just admit to one of these. I've admitted to at least 3 so far, maybe 4. So what does that say about trauma? That means for a lot of us, it's not just one thing. So if it's not just one thing and you have multiple different wounds, your healing journey is kind of imperative at this point, right? Because it's not just one thing to work on. So imagine, right? Imagine a world where you have multiple childhood wounds that are showing up in your adult life, and you are having trauma responses from these things, and you have to go outside and find somebody to match you. You have to perform and be an employee with these things leading the charge. You got to be a parent with this stuff on you. But you don't know it's there because you've made it a part of your identity. We tell the world, this is just who I am. We will be intelligent enough sometimes to know that it's not right, but we don't do anything to work on it because it's who we are, right? Yeah, I flick off whenever somebody tell me what to do. Yeah, it's the flick off part. You can not like it all you want to, but the flicking off, we got to work on that. But you won't, because you think that's a part of your makeup. And maybe, catch this, maybe your mama was like that. It's passed down. And guess what you're going to do? Pass it down to your kids if you don't stop yourself. Healing journey. Yeah, I remember that movie. Was it? Oh, God. Keenan Ivory Wayans, every time he said message, I'm going to say healing journey. All right. That's going to be my bag. Pay attention. So the next one we have is, and again, this is another wound that I have. Worrying that not feeling worthy or good enough. Ooh, we talk about this one a lot, don't we? Not feeling worthy or good enough means that you need to heal from having to perform as a kid to earn love. Ooh, this one right here. Ooh, it's a lot of us out there. You know, I'm going to sit here for a couple minutes. When you don't feel worthy and you were a kid that had to perform, you will overperform in a relationship just to make sure that everything is cool. Overperform. And you know what happens to a lot of overperformers? You ain't gonna never get the appreciation you looking for. Not the way you need it. You wanna know why? Because you're gonna choose someone that's gonna make you feel unworthy. You need something to chase. This is why empaths pick narcissists. An empath needs somebody to fix. I hope y'all catching this. I really do. Because this is important. This is very important that we understand this about ourselves. And this isn't even like the meat and potatoes, right? You got to get that shadow work in. and I can help you with that. You got to get your awareness up in order for you to even see that these things are issues, right? So we're going to talk about awareness again because I talked about it, I think, in the last show too. It's big, but it's not as big as a lot of us make it out to be. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. When you are triggered by, or you worry that someone is upset at you, this ain't me, but I know this one. This falls under the cognitive distortions, right? And so if you Google, guys who wasn't on that show, if you Google cognitive distortions, you're going to see yourself a whole lot in that list, right? So earmark that. Your mind is playing tricks on you, right? I know I'm showing my age. That means that you need to heal from a harsh or a punitive caregiver. We know these people. And some of us are these people where you always think that somebody is upset with you. Somebody's upset. It's in your head a lot of times. Sometimes it's true, but you feel like this all the time. I wonder if they're mad at me. I wonder if I'm good enough. I wonder if they're still upset. You know, kids live like this every day. When they have harsh parents, they just want to do whatever they can do to please them because they don't want to feel like they're upset with them. Well, when you show up in an adult relationship, you do the same thing. It's muscle memory. Remember, your inner child is trying to repeat history so that it can feel what it thinks is safe. You know how people think abuse is love? It starts when you're a kid, right? So this next one is kind of goes hand in hand. When you get triggered and you feel like you're a burden to someone, then that means as a child, your needs were ignored or shamed. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people out here that get triggered by this. I don't want to feel like I'm a burden. I just don't. I don't want to burden you. And you be like, you're not burdening me. Who told you that? Yeah, but I just don't want to feel. I don't want to feel like I'm burdening you. I just don't want to. And you can almost hear them hyperventilating sometimes. I don't want to be a burden. So imagine, think about it. Like when you hear these, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to like, pile on to whatever you going through. I don't even want to tell you what I'm going through. I don't want to be a burden. It sounds like a little kid cowering. Like I don't want to be a burden, mommy. It's because it is a kid. You be scared to ask your parents for stuff because I don't know what their reaction is going to be like. It might be too much. So let me just shut up. Sound familiar? We got two more. I'm pausing for y'all, not me. Let's breathe. Because some of y'all done heard about yourselves tonight. The question is, what are you going to do about it? We're going to talk about awareness when I get ready to get through these last two. Some people get triggered when they spend money on themselves. And you're like, how is that a trigger? Because you beat yourself up for spending money because you was raised in poverty or you were raised by a scarcity mindset. So when you spend and spoil yourself, you feel almost like shame. Like, should I be doing this? Because that's how you grew up, pinching pennies. Right? A lot of us know this intimately, right? So then it's like, it's almost like a fear comes over you when you're spending money on yourself, like second guessing yourself and overthinking whether you should or shouldn't when you know you got the money to do it. Right? Childhood. This last one, a lot of us can relate to. feeling dismissed or invalidated. Trigger, trigger, trigger. And this comes from a childhood where you were not allowed to have or show emotion. So you know what happens to these type of kids, right? They grow up into adults that either continue to not show emotion or they end up being extremely showy with their emotions. And when they're extremely showy with their emotions because they never got to as a child, they will end up being in relationships with people that say things like, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And then you go crazy. Or not. You could shrink yourself when somebody diminishes your emotions because you think, now I'm a grown up, I can tell people how I feel until somebody shoots it down. Trigger. Because it reminds you of your parents on the inside. And again, like I said, the weird trick of the universe is you'll end up falling in love with somebody that does this. And you won't leave. They've been telling you it's not that deep from the first month and you still there. Still haven't figured out how to work it out. So you just deal with it. And you stay. And you keep dealing with it. And sometimes they don't even know it's triggering you. But you know that it doesn't feel good. You just can't talk about it. Why? Because you tried to show your emotions before and it got shut down. So now you got to be quiet. And suffer in silence. Because you suffered in silence when you were a kid too. History repeats itself until you take the stance to get help to work on it. This will be your life forever. Like I said, I have had people as old as 70 in my coaching, and they're still, the little kid is still driving. They'll say things at that age. I never knew I needed boundaries. I never knew I had an inner child. Most of us don't. But now that you do, you can't use it as an excuse anymore. Some of y'all gonna be mad that you came on here because now you got some enlightenment and now you can't say, oh, it's because my mama wasn't there. Nope, no. You grown now. We got things that we can work on to fix that now. You can't keep telling people that. You got new information now. So now let's talk about awareness real quick because I'm gonna land this plane soon. At the beginning of the show, if you weren't here, I said it wouldn't be a long show, but it would be a very impactful show, right? So let's talk about awareness, right? Because I'm learning how to speak about awareness differently now. And it's by nature of me just consuming information online and just really looking at what it really means, right? A lot of times the talking points, and I think I might have even said this on the last show or two, will tell you that you need to become more self-aware, right? But we think that that's the goal, right? That's just the start, right? So like tonight, you might have become a little more aware of your childhood wounds, right? That's the awareness and the knowledge that it exists is only the start. But most people will stop there and think that they've won. I learned this about myself, so now I'm good. You're not good because the wound is still there, which means it will still get triggered and it will still react, even though you could tell me what these wounds are because we read these tonight. You still don't have a skill set to handle the triggers when they happen. So awareness is only the start. Oh, I learned this on Coach Derek's show. I'm good now. No, you're not. Habits don't change overnight. Your childhood wounds have been with you since you were 10. You think my one show going to help you work on it? Absolutely not. And even if you don't go through me, you at least know that you got to figure it out and maybe go to somebody. I don't care where you go. Just heal. I would love it if you use me, but if you don't, go there. But don't sit at home, and I say this a lot, lying to yourself and everybody else that you're working on yourself and you're not. Because most of us don't know how. So if you don't know how, but you're telling everybody that you're doing it, it's a lie. And I'm here to help you stop lying to yourself and others because it's not cute. You know why it's not cute? Because your behavior is going to tell me how unhealed you are. It's going to show the world that you're still the same person. You're still acting like a teenager and you're 55. You don't have to, because now you have new information. So becoming aware is an epiphany moment, right? I understand a little bit more about myself, but you got to keep going because the goal isn't awareness, it's resilience. Resilience is the goal, not aware. Resilience means that in the face of these triggers, you can manage yourself better. And when it happens, it doesn't consume you enough to make you have visceral reactions anymore because you are more resilient, not just aware. It's just like these things like emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is part awareness, but it's also part resilience because you're going to have to use it all the time. How do you build that muscle just because you know you need to be emotionally intelligent? That's not the work. So here at Sit Down and Heal Coaching, we specialize in the how. We specialize in the work because it's a deficit of information. You can search online all day long until you dive into the work. Then you're lying. And if you're not lying because you're not at least aware, the inner child, like I said last week, is flying that plane. It's in control of your life. What are you going to do about it? I'm tired of attracting the same people. You need to heal. Your words will always betray you. I'm sick of my mama always making me come over there when I got work to do. Boundary. Why can't you do it? Where does it come from? That fear. Right? We can work on these things. Don't mean you got to be mean to your mama, but you got to at some point be okay with you. There's a certain amount of stress that comes with not having boundaries sometimes. We know what stress does to the body. I heard something today. It was really, and I'm gonna misquote the hell out of it, but it was something to the effect of, when you heal and you start having boundaries, that people are going to hate you for not being what they're used to. And then a lot of us will feel bad that we made them feel that way. Isn't that weird? I don't want them to be upset with me, so let me just keep doing it. Remember this word, resilience. Your healing journey helps you build resilience. So eventually, hopefully, you will have some strength because you have now centered yourself. Most of us, for the first times in our life, to have some sort of peace of mind, to be able to have the strength to say, no, I'm not doing it today. Know how hard that is for a lot of us to say no to our mama or no to somebody that we actually care about because we've been doing it so long and they so used to it. And then you say no and they go crazy. They supposed to, y'all. They supposed to go crazy. They don't get to use you no more. They supposed to go crazy, y'all. I know we don't like seeing them go crazy, but they got to go through withdrawals because you're the drug. I hope y'all caught that. You are the drug. So, of course, when you take the drug away, they're going to go through withdrawals and go crazy and punch the air. Got to go through it. So, I do want to let you guys know again that this podcast will be on every podcast platform imaginable. It will also live on YouTube under my podcast. It's the first thing that you'll come up to, but it's a podcast folder there, and you'll get all the podcast episodes there. And y'all know I'm still a coach, so you can go to sitdownandheal.com, and I offer one-on-one sessions. I offer a workshop, kind of like a DIY for your healing journey, but I also am your guide there, so you're not alone, but it's more at your pace. I have ebooks, workbooks, and journals there, all under $20, so you can get, like, if the budget ain't budgeting, at least you can get started on some materials to help you get in the mindset that you need to get into before you enter into coaching. And I also have a community on the School app, SKOOL. And if you go to sitdownandheal.com, you'll see an advertisement there for the online community. There are several tiered paid options, but you get to immerse yourself into this healing journey with others. So it's not just you healing by yourself. So go to sitdownandheal.com, click on the school community button there, and then you can go and join the family, because I'm about to be doing some stuff in there. I just put something there tonight, so you guys are the first ones to hear about it. But we got a new masterclass coming, but it's only for the members, not the general public, but only for the members. I'm doing something special. So you might want to go check out that website, because I'm going to be advertising it in full tomorrow, but you guys are the first to know about it. But it's available to everybody that's a member of the community, and we're going to start doing some fun things in there. So just stay tuned. And then when you get in there, tell all your friends. Come on in. So on that note, guys, I appreciate everyone who's here live. I appreciate everyone that's coming to watch the replay. And this is the Sit Down and Heal podcast. And as I say every week, keep coming back. And hopefully you'll come back enough times that you'll be inspired to sit down and heal. I'll see you guys next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single Tuesday. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.